Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GreatMillStone who rule well, and shalom to the elect. This video, I want to get into some history and prophecies dealing with Hibernia, okay? Well, really circling around the Iberian Peninsula and Hibernia, and really honing in on the meaning of those two places, the meaning of the name of those two places, which goes back to Ibar, which means Hebrew in the Lashawan Kodash from the past. Okay, so this is on Iberian Peninsula. The Iberian Peninsula, just so you know, I'll read a little bit of this at the top. The Iberian Peninsula, also known as Iberia, is located southwest corner of Europe. The peninsula is principally divided between Portugal and Spain, comprising most of their territory. I can't say that word. So that's really the point. You could, as you can see, that's what people would today call Spain and Portugal. All right. All these regions mentioned are part of it. Okay. So now let's get to the point. This is in the name section. And this is when you go down to the second paragraph. The ancient Greeks reached the Iberian Peninsula, which they had heard of from the Phoenicians, by voyaging westward in the Mediterranean. Okay. Hectaeus of Miletus was first known to use the term Iberia, which he wrote circa 500 BC. Herodotus of Halicarnassus says of the Phoenicians that it was they who made the Greeks acquainted with Iberia. Okay. According to Strabo, prior historians used Iberia to mean the country this side of Iberus, the far north river Rhine in France. Okay, but that's the point. The point is that the Phoenicians, it was they who made the Greeks acquainted with Iberia. So it was the Phoenicians that made them aware of the region, and that also gave them the understanding of the name being Iberia. Okay? So now, let me just quickly show you. This is Ireland as well. And this is just another point before I go into the breakdown, the past point I spoke on. When you go down to here, the Roman historian Tacitus, in his book Agricola, circa 98 AD, uses the name Hibernia. The Romans also sometimes use Scotia, land of Scotty. Okay. And they butchered his word, but as you can see, the Greek Scotus meaning darkness, gloom, but really it means it goes into being dark, as in dark skinned. Okay, because Scotland means basically black land. It's Scot, Swarthy, okay, Schwarzer, the same words are all acquainted. So as you can see, the Romans called the land of the Scotia, the land of the black, basically. And honing back on this point, it says was first known to use the term. The Phoenicians were the ones that made the ancient Greeks aware of the region, and then also the Phoenicians were the ones that told the Greeks to name Iberia. Now we're gonna get into some history inside the scriptures. Okay, so this is just bear with me one moment. Okay. This is 1 Kings 10 and 22. For the king had this is talking about King Solomon. For the king had at a sea a navy of Tarshish with a navy of Hiram. Hiram was the king of Tyre and Sidon, I believe. My memory serves me correctly. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. So basically, you had a king, Solomon. He stationed Hiram's navy in Tarshish, okay, and every 3 years they brought back. They voyaged for a period of 3 years and brought back costly possessions. Now, the reason why it was 3 years is because it took a year and a half to get where they were going and a year and a half to get back. Okay, simple mathematics. So that place is America, because also when you precept that up with the 13th chapter in Esdras, where it talks about, the 10 tribes going away, or the 9 tribes, 10 tribes going away to another land where man never dwelt. That's talking about the land of America, and that's where they were going to, and gathering the gold, silver, ivory, and apes and peacocks. The peacocks being the turkeys in America. Okay, so this is the point. The reason why the Phoenicians, also known as Tyre and Sidon, the Philistines of that regions. Okay. Basically knew of all of these things because they worked in the navy of Solomon, because it was stationed in Tarshish. That's why they made the Greeks aware of that region. Okay, so point being, to extrapolate from this, our people were aware of this region, and you had King Solomon set up a navy that was stationed in Tarshish. Now let's dwell deeper into history to build upon that point. Now this is gonna read this. This is Jonah 1:1. Now the word of the Lord came unto Jonah the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for the wickedness is come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa. Joppa being a coastal city in the land of Israel. And he found a ship going to Tarshish, so he paid the fare thereof and went down into it to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. Now someone might say, well, that said Tarshish and this one says Tarshish. Well, Tarshish and Tarshish is the same thing. Okay? And guess where it is? Sluck. Okay, so this is the word. Okay. Tarshish, Farashash, Shayash, Farashayash. And they say it means yellow jasper. But this is the point. It says, a city of the Phoenicians in a distant part of the Mediterranean Sea. The Phoenicians. Where was Hiram's navy that was working underneath the command of Solomon? Where were they stationed? over there in Tarshish, and they were hiring people, the Phoenicians, in the distant part of the Mediterranean Sea, to which the prophet Jonah was trying to flee. So that's also where Jonah was trying to run to. Why? Because that place, extrapolating, it must have over the progression of time, it began a place where Israel began to settle at. Okay. Now it says at point one, site unknown, but perhaps in Cyprus or Spain. Okay, which is off, because they know. Why would they say unknown and then offer you two places? Now, if you know anything about biblical portions and land masses, it would tell you that Shittim or Kittim is Cyprus. Okay, so that knocks Cyprus out of the equation and lets you know that Tarshish is Spain. Okay, modern day Spain is Tarshish. And it's all the same thing. Tarshish, as you can see there. Tarshish, Tarshish, same word. Okay. All right then. So now prove the fact that it was known as a black land. Hibernia was known as land of the Scots, and Iberia was shown to. First point being, Hibernia is a land of the blacks, okay, that being modern day Ireland, but then also the Iberian Peninsula, where Solomon stationed his navy, okay, was also a stronghold for Israel to stay at, man, which was shown by the Phoenicians to the Greeks and was named Iberia. So now let's show you the meaning of the word Iberia, okay? The true meaning. Bear with me one moment. Okay. So now this is Eber. Eber, the son of was a son of not Shem. Was a son of it shows you there in Genesis 10:21. Okay, 10:24, and the facts that begat Selah, and Selah begat Eber. Eber was one of the descendants of Shem. Shem means name, Eber means from the past. Okay, and then it even shows you there in the next verse. And unto Eber was born two sons, the name of one was Peleg, for in those days the earth was divided, and the brother's name was Joktan. The earth being divided was talking about in the time of the Tower of Babel, when all the nations' languages were confounded. Eber, being Iber, means from the past, because that lineage through Peleg was where the the Hebrew was going to be placed to. So that's the true meaning of meaning from the past. And that's the reason why Hibernia and Iberian were named. But now let's get into the final point. I'm going to get straight to the point. This is Isaiah 60. And we're going to start from 8. Okay, who are these that fly as a cloud? Now the cloud is talking about the chariots of Israel. As mentioned in Exodus, the Lord went before the camp as a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, and as the doves to their windows. That's the tractor beaming up the elect into those chariots. All right. Surely the hours shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first. Oh, the ships of Tarshish first to what? To bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy power, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. So there's Jakes over there in the land of Tarshish, Spain, modern day Spain, Portugal, that are out there, that have been there, going back to the Moors and before the Moors, going back to the time of Jonah, going back to the time of Solomon. So with that, man, I pray you're edified. Say shalom.